I was walking up the front steps to my son's house on a Saturday afternoon, excited to see my 7-year-old grandson Tyler for our usual weekend visit, when I heard him scream through the open window, "No, I don't want to. Please don't make me." And my daughter-in-law Melissa's voice responding calmly, "Tyler, Grandma Ann is here to see you. You need to come say hello." But Tyler's voice rose to a wail of genuine terror. "She's going to hurt me. He said she's dangerous."
"Please, Mommy, don't make me go near her." I stood frozen on the porch, my hand still raised to knock, trying to process what I'd just heard. My grandson, the little boy who used to run into my arms squealing with delight, was now terrified of me, was saying someone had told him I was dangerous, was begging not to see me. When Melissa finally opened the door, her face tight with discomfort, she said quietly, "Ann, we need to talk. Something's been happening with Tyler, and I don't know how to handle it." And as I stepped inside and saw Tyler huddled behind the couch, his small face streaked with tears, staring at me with genuine fear in his eyes, I felt my heart break because someone had poisoned my relationship with this child, had filled his head with lies so convincing that he now saw his loving grandmother as a threat. And I knew in that moment that I would do whatever it took to find out who had done this and make them answer for turning a child's love into fear. My name is Ann Williams, and I'm 72 years old. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, where I've been a grandmother to Tyler since he was born 7 years ago. Tyler is my only grandchild, the son of my deceased son Michael and his ex-wife Melissa. Michael died in a car accident when Tyler was just 2 years old, a loss that devastated all of us. Since then, I tried to maintain a close relationship with Tyler, to make sure he knew his father through me, through stories and photos and love. Until recently, that relationship had been beautiful. Tyler and I were close. We had special traditions: Saturday morning pancakes, trips to the aquarium, bedtime stories about his daddy. Tyler would light up when he saw me, would run to hug me, would ask when I could visit again. But about 6 weeks ago, something changed. It started subtly. Tyler seemed less enthusiastic when I arrived. He'd hug me, but briefly, almost reluctantly. He'd play with me, but would glance toward his mother frequently, as if seeking permission or reassurance. I'd asked Melissa if something was wrong. She'd said Tyler was just going through a phase, maybe adjusting to her new relationship. She'd been dating a man named Brian for about 3 months. I accepted that explanation. Children do go through phases when dealing with family changes. But this terror I just witnessed, this wasn't a phase. This was something else entirely. If you've ever seen a child you love look at you with genuine fear, if you've watched trust transform into terror because someone has poisoned their perception of you, you know the particular anguish I felt. It's not just heartbreak, it's a violation of something sacred. Inside the house, Melissa gestured for me to sit on the couch while Tyler remained behind it, watching me warily. "Ann, I'm so sorry. This has been happening for about 2 weeks. Tyler has started saying things about you that don't make sense, that you're mean, that you might hurt him, that he doesn't feel safe around you." "Where is he getting these ideas?" "I don't know. I keep asking him, but he won't give me clear answers." "If you took it because you're having financial problems, just tell me. We can work something out." "I'm not having financial problems, and I didn't take your money." Patricia's expression shifted to something that looked like pity mixed with disappointment. "Mom, lying about it is only making this worse. I know you were in my room. I know the money is missing. Just admit it and we can move past this." "There's nothing to admit. Patricia, why are you doing this?" She stood up, gathering her purse. "I'm going to give you some time to think about this. But Mom, if you don't return the money, I'm going to have to take this seriously. I might need to file a police report." "A police report?" "I'm not going to just walk away and hope it resolves itself. Someone is emotionally abusing Tyler by filling his head with lies, and I'm going to find out who." From behind the couch, Tyler whimpered, "Grandma's mad. He said she gets mad and hurts people when she's mad." I felt tears spring to my eyes. "Tyler, sweetheart, I'm not mad at you.
I could never hurt you. Someone is telling you things about me that aren't true. But he showed me. He showed me pictures of what you did. Pictures? Tyler, what pictures? But Tyler just shook his head and wouldn't say more. I left that day with my heart in pieces. Someone had not only been telling Tyler lies about me, they'd fabricated visual evidence to make those lies convincing. I needed help. So I called my younger son Marcus in Atlanta and told him everything. Mama, someone is actively trying to destroy your relationship with Tyler. This isn't passive alienation. This is calculated psychological manipulation of a child. I know, but Melissa won't acknowledge it. She keeps defending Brian, saying he wouldn't do this. Have you met Brian? Once, briefly. He seemed nice enough. But Marcus, Tyler said he told me, and he showed me pictures. That sounds like a man, not Melissa. Then it's Brian. It has to be. Who else would have that kind of access to Tyler? Who else would benefit from turning Tyler against you? Why would Brian want to turn Tyler against me? I don't know. But we need to find out. I hired a private investigator, the same one I'd used before, Sarah Martinez. I asked her to do a complete background check on Brian Cortez, Melissa's boyfriend. What Sarah found was disturbing. Brian Cortez, age 38, had been married twice before. Both marriages had ended in contentious divorces. In both cases, Brian's ex-wives had accused him of being controlling and manipulative. More significantly, Brian's second wife had filed for a restraining order during their divorce proceedings, claiming Brian had tried to alienate her teenage daughter from her biological father. The restraining order had been granted temporarily, but then dropped when Brian and his wife reached a settlement agreement. Mrs. Williams, Sarah said, Brian has a pattern. He enters relationships with single mothers, and then he tries to isolate the children from their other parent or parental figures. His second wife claims he told her daughter terrible lies about her father, that he was dangerous, unstable, that he'd abandoned them. Why would he do that? Control. If Brian can make himself the only safe adult in the child's life, he increases his importance to the mother. He becomes irreplaceable. It's a manipulation tactic. So he's doing the same thing to Tyler? It appears so. But Mrs. Williams, proving it is going to be difficult. We'd need Tyler to tell us what Brian said, or we'd need to catch Brian in the act. What about these pictures Tyler mentioned? Pictures that supposedly show me doing something bad? If Brian created fake images or manipulated real ones, that's a serious issue. But again, we'd need to see them. I thought carefully about how to proceed. I couldn't just confront Brian. He'd deny everything, and Melissa would defend him. I needed evidence. Sarah, can you set up surveillance? I want to know what's happening when I'm not around. I want to know what Brian is saying to Tyler. That's ethically and legally tricky. We can't plant listening devices in someone's home without permission. But we could try to document interactions in public spaces, or we could see if Melissa would agree to let us monitor Brian's behavior. Melissa won't agree. She's defensive of Brian. Then we need another approach. I decided to talk to Tyler's school. If Brian was manipulating Tyler, there might be signs, behavioral changes, things Tyler said to teachers or counselors. I met with Tyler's first grade teacher, Mrs. Patterson. I explained the situation carefully, focusing on Tyler's sudden fear of me rather than accusing Brian directly. Mrs. Williams, I have noticed changes in Tyler over the past few weeks. He used to talk about you all the time, about your Saturday visits, about stories you tell him about his father. But recently, he stopped mentioning you. And when other children talk about their grandparents, Tyler gets quiet. Has he said anything specific about me? Last week, during a discussion about families, Tyler said his grandma used to be nice, but now she's different. When I asked what he meant, he said someone told him she changed, that she's not safe anymore. Did he say who told him that? No, he seemed scared to say. Mrs. Williams, I'm required to report suspected child abuse. If Tyler is being emotionally manipulated or frightened by an adult, that's a form of abuse. Would you be willing to document what Tyler has said, and if you hear anything else, to let me know? I can document it, and I can speak with our school counselor. We take this kind of thing seriously. Over the next week, I gathered more information. I talked to Melissa's neighbor, who mentioned seeing Brian and Tyler in the backyard having serious talks where Tyler would end up crying. I talked to Tyler's soccer coach, who said Tyler had mentioned being worried about Grandma, but wouldn't elaborate. Everyone saw the change in Tyler, but no one could prove what was causing it. Then I got a breakthrough. Tyler's school counselor, Miss Jennifer Park, called me. Mrs. Williams, I had a session with Tyler today. With parental permission, I asked him about his relationship with you. He became very distressed and said he's scared of you. When I asked why, he said Brian showed me pictures of bad things Grandma did. What kind of pictures? Tyler described images that sound like they might be manipulated or fabricated. Photos supposedly showing you being violent or angry. He mentioned one image of you yelling at a little boy and making him cry. Mrs. Williams, do these images exist? No, or if they do, they're fake. I've never hurt a child, never been violent. Someone is creating false evidence. I suspected as much. Tyler also let slip something important. He said Brian told him not to tell Mommy about our talks because it would make Mommy sad. That's a huge red flag. Adults who instruct children to keep secrets from their parents are often engaging in manipulation or abuse. Can you help me? Can you talk to Melissa about what Tyler said? I already have. I called her this afternoon and shared my concerns. She was defensive at first, but when I explained the severity, that Tyler is being emotionally manipulated by an adult who's telling him to keep secrets, she agreed to come in for a meeting tomorrow. You should be there too. The meeting was tense. Melissa, Miss Park, Mrs. Patterson, and I sat in a small conference room at the school. Miss Park presented her findings. Tyler is exhibiting signs of psychological manipulation. Someone has been telling him frightening things about his grandmother, showing him fabricated or manipulated images, and instructing him to keep these conversations secret. This is emotional abuse. Melissa's face was pale. You think Brian is doing this? Tyler has repeatedly referenced he when talking about the source of these frightening messages. When pressed, Tyler mentioned Brian's name once. Combined with the secrecy instruction and the systematic nature of the manipulation, yes, I believe Brian is responsible. But why would he do this? I spoke up. Melissa, I hired a private investigator. Brian has a history of this. His second wife accused him of alienating her daughter from her biological father using similar tactics: lies, manipulation, fake evidence. Melissa looked stricken. You investigated Brian? My grandson is terrified of me because someone convinced him I'm dangerous. I had to find out who and why. Miss Park continued. Mrs. Jensen, your son needs help. He's being emotionally traumatized. We need to address this immediately, which means confronting Brian and potentially removing him from Tyler's life until we can ensure he's not harming your son. I need to talk to Brian first. I need to hear his side. That's reasonable, Miss Park said. But, Mrs. Jensen, I'm legally obligated to report this to Child Protective Services if the manipulation continues. Tyler's emotional well-being is at stake. That evening, Melissa called me. Anne, I confronted Brian. He denied everything. He said Tyler must have been confused, that he's never said anything negative about you. Did you ask about the pictures Tyler mentioned? He said he doesn't know what Tyler's talking about, that maybe Tyler saw something on TV or online and got confused. Melissa, children don't fabricate detailed stories about specific conversations and images. Tyler said Brian showed him pictures. Tyler said Brian told him to keep secrets. Brian is lying. I want to believe you, but Anne, I love Brian. We've been building a life together. I can't just throw that away based on accusations. Even when your son is being emotionally abused? There was a long pause. Let me think about this. I need time. But I didn't have time. Tyler was suffering every day this continued. I decided to take a more direct approach. I asked Melissa if I could have supervised time with Tyler, me, Tyler, and Melissa together, with Miss Park present as a neutral observer. Melissa agreed, perhaps hoping it would prove I was overreacting. We met at the school on a Saturday morning. Tyler was reluctant, clinging to Melissa, eyeing me fearfully. Every person you told that I stole money, you're going to contact them and tell them the truth, that you made a mistake, that I never took anything, that you were wrong. They'll ask questions, then answer them honestly. Tell them you were under stress and made a terrible error in judgment. But you will clear my name, Patricia, completely. And if I do that, you won't report the embezzlement? I paused. This was the critical moment. Did I protect my daughter or seek full justice? If you retract your accusations, apologize sincerely, and commit to getting professional help for your financial and psychological issues, I won't report the embezzlement to the police. Pictures of you being mean. Can you describe the pictures? Tyler's description was chilling. Brian had apparently shown him old family photos, legitimate photos from Michael's childhood, but had added captions or manipulated them to look like evidence of abuse. A photo of me reprimanding young Michael for running into the street became proof I was violent. A photo of Michael crying after falling off his bike became evidence I'd hurt him. Brian had taken innocent family moments and weaponized them against me. Tyler, Miss Park said, sometimes adults take real pictures and change them or add words to make them mean something different. That's called lying. But at least if you come forward voluntarily, you can control the narrative somewhat. Patricia hung up without responding. For 2 days, I heard nothing. Then I started getting phone calls. David called first. Anne, Patricia told me the truth about the money she took from work, about lying about you. I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry. Did she tell you why she lied about me? She said she panicked, that she thought if people already saw theft in the family, her own theft wouldn't seem as bad. It's sick. I can't believe she did this. What's happening now? She's meeting with her employer today. She's confessing to the embezzlement. I don't know if they'll prosecute or just fire her, but Anne, she also wants to talk to you. Men who manipulate children often escalate when confronted. Then I'll get a restraining order if I have to. That evening, Melissa confronted Brian and ended the relationship. According to her, Brian was shocked, angry, and denied everything. He claimed Tyler was lying or confused, that Melissa was overreacting, that I had poisoned her against him. But Melissa held firm. She told Brian to leave and not to contact her or Tyler again. Brian didn't take it well. Over the next week, he sent Melissa dozens of texts, some apologetic, some angry, some threatening. He showed up at her house twice. He called her workplace. Melissa filed for a restraining order, providing evidence of Brian's harassment and the school's documentation of his manipulation of Tyler. The judge granted a temporary restraining order, ordering Brian to stay away from Melissa and Tyler pending a full hearing. Meanwhile, Tyler began therapy with a child psychologist named Dr. Robert Martinez, who specialized in parental alienation and psychological manipulation of children. Dr. Martinez worked with Tyler to help him understand what had happened, that an adult had lied to him, had shown him real pictures with fake meanings, had tried to make him afraid of someone who loved him. It was slow work. Tyler's trust had been deeply damaged, but gradually, over weeks and months, he began to heal. I was patient. I didn't push for visits. I let Tyler set the pace, with Dr. Martinez's guidance. Our first visit post-revelation was supervised by Dr. Martinez. Tyler was nervous, but not terrified like before. Tyler, I said gently, I know Brian told you scary things about me. I want you to know that none of it was true. I love you very, very much. I loved your daddy very, very much, and I would never, ever hurt you." Why did Brian lie? Sometimes adults do bad things for reasons that don't make sense. Brian wanted to be the most important person in your and your mommy's life, and he thought making you afraid of me would help him do that. That's mean. Yes, it is. Very mean. I'm sorry I was scared of you, Grandma. Oh, sweetheart, that wasn't your fault. You believed what a grown-up told you. That's what kids are supposed to do. Brian was wrong, not you. Tyler climbed into my lap, cautiously at first, then settling in like he used to. I missed you, Grandma. I missed you too, baby, so much. The restraining order hearing happened 3 weeks later. I attended to provide testimony about Brian's pattern of behavior with his previous relationships. Brian's attorney tried to paint me as a vindictive ex-mother-in-law trying to interfere in Melissa's relationship. But the evidence was overwhelming. Dr. Martinez's report documenting psychological manipulation, the school counselor's testimony, Tyler's own statements, and the background showing Brian's history of similar behavior. The judge made the restraining order permanent. Brian was ordered to stay away from both Melissa and Tyler, with violation resulting in criminal charges. "Mr. Cortez," the judge said sternly, "you engaged in systematic psychological abuse of a child. You manipulated a 7-year-old boy's perceptions of his grandmother, fabricated evidence, and instructed him to keep secrets from his mother. This behavior is reprehensible. If you ever contact this family again, you will face criminal charges for violation of this order and potentially for child abuse." Brian left the courthouse angry but defeated. As far as I know, he never contacted Melissa or Tyler again. Tyler's healing continued. After 6 months of therapy, Dr. Martinez said Tyler was making excellent progress. He understands now that Brian lied to him. He's processed the fear and confusion. And most importantly, his relationship with you is being rebuilt on a foundation of truth. Tyler and I resumed our Saturday morning tradition. We made pancakes, went to the aquarium, read stories about his daddy. One Saturday, about 8 months after everything had happened, Tyler and I were making chocolate chip pancakes when he said, "Grandma, I'm glad Brian's gone." "Me too, sweetheart." "Dr. Martinez says Brian was trying to steal my love for you, but he couldn't because love is stronger than lies." I hugged him tight, tears in my eyes. "That's exactly right, Tyler. Love is always stronger than lies." Now, if you're listening to this story, if someone is poisoning your grandchild against you, if a child you love has suddenly become fearful because of lies and manipulation, I need you to hear this. When adults poison a child's heart with lies, the truth must be exposed because emotional manipulation is a form of abuse and love must be protected before it's too late. You have the right to fight for your relationship with your grandchild. You have the right to expose manipulation, to demand accountability, to protect a child from psychological abuse. Here's what you should do if you find yourself in a similar situation. First, document everything. Note when the child's behavior changed, what they say, any specifics they mention. Documentation is crucial. Second, involve professionals. Talk to the child's school, therapist, or doctor. They're trained to recognize manipulation and are often mandatory reporters. Third, investigate the person you suspect. Look for patterns in their history. People who manipulate children often have a track record. Fourth, don't confront the manipulator directly without support. They'll deny everything and may escalate. Work through proper channels. Fifth, be patient with the child. They're a victim, not a perpetrator. Healing takes time. And sixth, pursue legal protection if necessary. Restraining orders, supervised visitation, whatever it takes to protect the child. Will it be hard? Devastatingly so. Will you sometimes feel hopeless? Yes. Will the child immediately trust you again once the truth is exposed? No. Healing takes time, but you must fight because a child's emotional well-being is at stake. I fought for Tyler. I investigated, documented, involved professionals, and exposed Brian's manipulation. Was it painful? Yes. Did it take months to repair the damage? Yes. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Because Tyler knows now that his grandmother loves him, that Brian lied, that love is stronger than lies. Somewhere in Charleston, there's a 72-year-old grandmother whose grandson was taught to fear her by a manipulative man, who investigated, gathered evidence, and exposed the psychological abuse, who protected her grandson and reclaimed their relationship. You can do the same. Don't accept a child's sudden fear as unchangeable. Don't let manipulators win. Don't give up on love. Investigate, document, expose, protect. The child you love is counting on you to fight for truth, stand strong, gather evidence, save the relationship. Love is always worth fighting for, especially when it's a child's love that's being stolen.